You tell me. You have the intro.
Oh, do I?
Yeah.
This ought to be good. Go ahead and kick it, Matt.
Oh, you want me to do it? Welcome to the welcome to the Hardheaded podcast. I am your host, Matt Amos. With me, as always, Chet Sears in the blue and Troy over there in the red. We're so glad that you're joining us today.
We're like American colors today, me and you. Red, white, and blue.
That's right.
I didn't get the memo.
It's all right.
I should have. I do have is it politically correct to say wife beater?
I don't know. I'm not the authority on political correctness.
Probably not, but I know what you're talking about.
But I've got, so it could be.
I'm not offended.
Red, white, and then blue if I just wore the wife beater.
Don't take your shirt off.
You look very country boy today. It's fitting.
Yeah?
Yeah, with that shirt.
I should look like that. I mean, every day. Whatever.
Yeah.
Well, did y'all have a nice Christmas?
I did.
I didn't pout.
You didn't pout this year?
Right.
Good. Well, anyway, so I guess moving on, Christmas is over.
Yep. But New Year's is right around the corner.
New Year's is 2 days away.
Yeah.
A couple days away.
Yes. Got any big plans?
No.
Going to see the ball drop? Me either.
That's a couple of episodes now with some wide open.
I'm trying to open the door for you, Matt.
No, man.
Trying.
No.
And I'm trying to hold off.
You're doing
but
a good
anyway,
job.
so today
Your neighbor would be proud.
Troy, you're bringing us what's on your mind.
Yep.
And our top three, we've got some top three inspirational quotes to start the new year.
Yes.
I'll let you guess who picked that top three. Mm-hmm.
Only because you want to talk about it.
No, I don't want to talk about it.
Because it show you in a bad light.
I want to be that might come back later.
Well, you didn't be about it. I can tell you that on your job of selecting top threes. So don't complain.
Oh, well, whatever.
I thought we had a list of like 130 of them.
We do, and this was on it.
It's like it's all he's got to do is cut and paste. That was too much.
No, you're supposed to put all that together and send it out, and you're like,
because he's been gone.
Not here.
You know,
I got better things to do.
No. Yes. And then Chet, you're gonna end us with a good word.
Yes.
To start the new year.
To end the old year.
To end the old year and bring in the new.
If you want to.
That's where we're at.
Sounds good.
In any case. Troy.
I just got to stop and just compliment you on such a great job of getting the show started and all the energy that you've brought to the table.
It's all gone now, and I have none left for the rest of this episode.
Don't fall asleep.
I'm done. Troy, what's on your mind?
So recently we have seen, or you've probably seen it, go into a restaurant or you go through a drive-through. Like literally the other day I went through a drive-through and I was sitting behind this person. You get blocked in, right?
No.
And the person in front of me, you get blocked in the drive-through because now they have all those curves.
I typically like to stay on the outside of the 2-lane drive-thrus just in case I need to hop a curb to get out.
Oh, okay. Well, I can't do that.
You can. If you wanted to, you could.
Well, if I wanted to, I could.
Yeah. So I don't ever consider myself like blocked in. Like I could get out of here if I had to.
Well, if I had to, I could get out of there.
But I get what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? You
can't leave because somebody's behind you.
Right.
Yeah.
8 minutes later, they finally said, "Oh, sorry about that," to the person in front of me and took their order. And then they drove around.
Oh, you hadn't even ordered yet?
No, I hadn't even ordered. I'm sitting here waiting and I'm blocked in. So I pull up. The person behind me just was like, forget this. They pulled a Chet, hopped a curb and got out there. Yeah. And so when I pull up, they say, "Hey, we're sorry it's been taking so long. There's only 3 of us in here. If you'll just give us a little grace, we'll be with you in a moment." I'm like, yeah, sure, man, no problem. I'm always nice to service people, especially food, because they can always do something to your food.
Yeah.
We've all seen that movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, So took a few more minutes. They asked me, hey, just go ahead and order whenever you're ready. I ordered, drive around, had to wait a little bit for the person in front of me. Got my stuff. Or no, I didn't get my stuff. Excuse me. Pulled up. They said, yeah, we're waiting on the batch of fries to get out. If you can just pull around.
No, I don't like that.
To the other side.
I don't like pulling around.
I don't either, but I'm like, yeah, sure, man. No problem. You know, I know there's only 3 people in there. I guess they're having a hard time working, you know, with just 3 people in a fast food restaurant. So I drove around, waited another 5 minutes, and they finally brought my food out.
Mm-hmm. It's like a 20-minute deal.
Yeah. To get like fast food, you know, air quotes, fast food. So my only question is, like, where have all the service people gone? What industry are they in now? Are they collecting government wages? Are they staying at home? Like what is the deal? Where are all the workers? Any thoughts?
Over to you, Matt.
Because we hear this complaint a lot.
Well, I mean, there's help wanted signs
everywhere.
And I did hear where McDonald's is actually paying people $50, or maybe it was $100, just to fill out an application and do an interview.
Wow.
Like, that's how desperate some of these places have gotten.
My son works at a restaurant, and they're giving $500 bonuses to any employee that refers a new hire, and that new hire stays there for 90 days.
Wow.
And the person that referred them gets $500.
$500.
Unlimited.
Oh,
like,
wow.
if you recommend 5 people and they hire 5 people and those 5 people are there for 90 days, you get $2,500.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude, why are people, it's just mind-boggling. Can't even talk. Like, why are companies having to go through this? Where is everybody? Why are people not wanting to work? I feel like
I wish I'd have been more prepared for this conversation, because there is probably some pretty staggering statistics
about what,
where these people have gone, what they're doing. And you called it a government wage. A wage is something that you earn.
Well, yeah, I misspoke.
Feather ruffled.
Government handout.
Like, I come to my job and I earn a wage.
Oh yeah.
About 3 days a month.
And you get paid for those 3 days.
Handsomely for 3 days.
Right. Man.
No comment.
Yeah, I just feel for a lot of especially the local business owners, the local food places, because, you know, we do that show Live Local on YouTube. We're always trying to help out the little guys and go eat at, you know, mom and pop shops. And a lot of those places are closing down just because they can't find good help. And the help that they had went after the lockdown, that help didn't come back to work. So I just, really wish I knew where they were, or if they've just quit and gone. Is there another industry out there that's just booming because people have gone in?
There's like an overflow of employees.
Yeah. Because did people figure out like, oh, the service industry sucks. I'm always getting yelled at sometime, you know, at a restaurant or something. So maybe after the lockdown, they're like, well, I'm going to find a different job. I'm going to do something different.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've heard a lot of theories.
The one that I saw quite a bit was everybody talking about a quote living wage, which I've got issues with myself, because most places it can be a living wage if that's what you choose to do.
It's not supposed to be a living wage. Like,
but what I'm saying is,
if you have
I get it. If you have no skills, you're going to get paid
if you have no skills
accordingly,
and you're going to learn skills and get experience. And then the next job that you go to, which you should go to another job, How many people do you know like literally started working at McDonald's or started working at a fast food restaurant or at a quote unquote minimum wage job that are still working there 20, 30 years later? Nobody.
Yeah.
Not at that same job. Some people may,
they might
they own
still
a franchise now.
Yeah, or they've worked their way up the ladder. Yeah.
Which is you learn, you gain skills, and you advance.
Right.
And if you can't advance where you learned and gained those skills, you go somewhere that they will pay you because you have those skills and you had that learning, that experience. So no, you shouldn't have a living wage at a job that requires no prior experience before you got there. Because that hurts people.
Well, and then a lot of factors go into that. Are they working part-time? How many hours are they actually putting in? What are they spending on their cell phone bill? What are they spending on going to the clubs? It's just like all the things that I had to not do when I was younger because I didn't have the money to do it. It's just one of those things. I worked my way up.
Yeah, but at the same time, you probably took a huge pay cut when you joined the Marines.
Yeah, I did. But I'd already worked. I'd been working. I was 23 when I joined the Marines. So I had 5 years of work experience.
Right.
Well, more than that. I started at 15. So
that's 8.
8 years.
You do math.
Yeah, they didn't teach me that in the Marines either.
No.
But
math's hard.
My first job, I was making $4.25 an hour.
Yeah.
Is what I was making.
Yeah.
I
think that's about what I was making as a lifeguard. $4.75.
It was a big deal when I finally got to 5.
Yeah.
But now, they're starting off at 10, 12, $15 an hour.
Yeah.
And everybody thinks that, that's going to be fine. But I think if we look at where we're at now with inflation, that's all been canceled out. If it's not worse.
Yeah.
Than it was when I was growing up. So I think a lot of people just kind of get disenfranchised a little bit with the job. And then they see online all this social media rumble, like, well, you're worth more than that. Well, maybe as a person, but as an employee, you're not, as a person, you're obviously worth a lot, but as an employee with no skills, you're not worth anything. So you have to put in the grind, like a lot of those influencers. I'm grinding daily,
Rise and grind.
Well, you'll get, there's some economists that have done studies, and the higher the entry level wage, the bigger the disparity between the poor and the middle class, because the people that are poor and don't have any experience are not going to get hired at a higher paying entry level job because they have no skills or experience. So they stay poor and they don't have that opportunity to get that job and start getting some skills and experience. So under a full free market system, you would just, hey, what do you want to work here? Oh, well, I'm going to teach you this, and this, but I'm only going to pay you $2 an hour. Voluntarily, you voluntarily take the job. Yeah, I'll do that for $2 an hour. And after 6 months, I'm going to have this, and this as skills. And then I can go down the street to your competitor and he may pay me $10 an hour for that.
Yeah.
So you sacrifice 6 months at $2 an hour, you learn all this stuff. And then next thing you know, you're making a whole lot more money. But if you're going to say $15 an hour, it's like, I'm not hiring you. You have no skills. I'm not paying $15 an hour for that. So Troy never gets a job. I'm just picking on you.
It's okay. It's what y'all do on this podcast.
Yeah.
Well, and you asked where where these people have gone. I don't know, because I don't know where we are in the stipend or the unemployment stuff, or how long somebody can stay on it, because I know that they've got to be looking for a job or have proof that they're looking for a job. And that, to me, having to deal with the VA and all the stuff that I have to provide to the VA to prove my disability,
every year.
Yeah.
He has to prove that he doesn't have legs every
year. That's ridiculous.
Well, I've got to do, so I get a clothing allowance because the prosthetics shred my clothes. Like my shorts just almost turned to nothing. And so they give me a clothing stipend every year, but I have to fill out the same paperwork every year just in case
Just in case you grow legs.
One of them legs grew back, right? And then
Oh my gosh.
when I was on Social Security disability, I had to go into them and prove every year that I was still disabled. And it's like, so getting off of that and actually getting a job, it's easier to me than to continue to have to do all of that paperwork, because we know the government isn't efficient. And so they want the same things, and then they lose it. And then they're like, hey, where's this at? And I was like, I gave it to you 2 months ago. Here's my copy. Oh, well, can you send that to me again? It's like, it's so inefficient. It's so frustrating. It's just easier. It would be easier just to go get a job. So I don't know how many of these people are actually are they working harder at staying unemployed and getting free money, or are they just not employed? I don't know the answer to that. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't either.
Well, and in the economy that we're in right now, maybe businesses just aren't going to survive. And that may be because they don't have enough clientele. That may be because they don't have any clientele because nobody can wait on them. A couple of restaurants we've been to here recently have empty tables, and like, oh, how long is it going to take? We're going to feel like we should be seated immediately. Like, no, it's going to take about 20 minutes. We can't seat people over there because we don't have enough staff.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, well, I'll wait, or I'm not going to come here anymore. And then next thing you know, that restaurant closes, and whoever their wait staff is goes to the next restaurant, and they have full wait staff all of a sudden. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why they're not working though.
Yeah. Who knows? If you're out there and you know the answer to this, we'd love to hear it.
If you're unemployed,
go get a job
and have been unemployed since this whole COVID thing started. Let's say you got laid off and you just didn't go back to work. Your job said, hey, we'll hire you back. You said, no, thanks. Leave us a message. Come on the podcast and explain how you do it. Like, I'd be interested just to have a conversation with somebody.
I mean, there's some things
because again, I don't want to take a jab at anybody that can't defend themselves. So, and I don't want to judge somebody's other side not knowing. So I'm curious to know. I'd genuinely like to have somebody on to hear why they wouldn't go back to work.
Yeah, there's several things that have happened, and it's not all just recently. And this is just, I'll just give you I have no clue on all of the information here, but I can tell you this. Obamacare, when it passed, one of the things that was involved in that is that you could claim your children as a dependent for your health insurance that's provided to you by your company until they're 26 years old. So you could be 25, out of college, working a full-time job,
married,
and still on your parents' insurance, health insurance, that the company that they're working for is paying for.
Oh, wow.
So, like, okay, well,
heard that.
one of the reasons you could survive, quote unquote, survive today. Well, I don't have to work to have health insurance until I'm an old person, like 26. I mean, that you shouldn't be living in the basement anymore.
What
26.
was their reasoning behind that? Wasn't it because they said the brain isn't fully developed until you're 25 or something?
No, I don't know.
I think that was the scientific reasoning behind it.
Well, then you wouldn't be able to join the military or vote if they were like, oh, brain development.
No,
and I know your prefrontal cortex is what they're talking about, but
it's ridiculous.
Maybe it's to just have a generation of people that don't have to work. And maybe we're starting to see some of that come to fruition right now.
Ding, 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 ding. I think we hit the nail on the head right there.
There you go.
A generation dependent and
the government
and used to being dependent because that's all they know on the government.
All I know,
we're getting somewhere, guys.
You're right in the fact that whatever frustrations you have don't need to be taken out on the people that showed up. Like,
oh no, absolutely.
I'm so grateful for the people that are still showing up today and still working hard. And
well, and look at I will say this because I've noticed the same thing, with companies being short-staffed or short-handed, and the quality of service that I get has been better.
Depends on where you go.
I know the tips I've given have been better. Like, I mean, there should be, like, hopefully everybody's stepping it up a little bit all the way around, service and appreciation.
Yeah. And of course I frequent
Drive-throughs.
kind of the same.
And Troy doesn't approve of tipping in a drive-through.
Well, I mean,
I don't see the point.
Yeah, I know. We had
I think we had a discussion a while back, but like I went to a sit down restaurant.
When?
With my family, fool.
When?
I
didn't say who. I said when.
A few weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah, my youngest was going to a school dance, which
that's a different episode.
Yeah, because
you don't have to talk about it. It's traumatic.
12-year-old kids.
It's traumatic.
Can be brutal.
It's traumatic for a dad to talk about their daughters going to dances.
So anyway,
you get ready.
I drop her off, and she, so I was like, well,
and then park in the parking lot and establish surveillance.
No, because I had Audrey and Lily with me, and so I was like, well, we have a couple of hours or an hour and a half because of course, I've got a carload of girls, so we're late. So, but I was like, well, we only have like an hour and a half. I was like, you want to just drive in and go get something to eat and then pick her up on our way back?
And then your wife's jaw hit the floor. Like, I can't believe you want to go into a building.
Yeah. Well, I had to take a vote because I was like, I'm actually home for a little bit. And I was like, let's go do something. And, so I wanted to go to Kobe Steakhouse.
Yeah. Yeah. The hibachi grill.
Yeah. So I've never been there and they had never been there. And so I took a vote with all four of them before we left. I was like, okay, Clara, since you're the one who can't go, I was like, which one would you be more mad if we went to without you? Mm-hmm. She goes, what are the choices? I said, Abuelo's. And she kind of gave me a look because the cheese dip is one of her favorite things. And then I said, or Kobe Steakhouse. And she goes, what is that other one? I go, it's kind of like a Japanese steakhouse and they cook in front of you. She's like, yeah, Abuelo's. And I was like, so you want me to go to Kobe? She goes, no, you go to Abuelo's and then you take me and we can all go. I was like, okay, we'll do that. But anyway, so we're driving to Abuelo's and my daughter in the back seat starts laughing and Claire's texting her and says, well, looks like I'm already here. One of her friends used her name to get somebody from another school into the dance. And I'm like, they're 12 years old.
Oh no.
Oh my gosh.
But
slick.
Yeah, pretty slick. But I was like,
oh my,
all comes down to it. She's got a military ID and she can prove her identity. But anyway, so we go to Abuelo's and we're sitting down and we got right in, Friday night at like 7:30 and got seated right away. Service was great. Food was really good, which it typically is there. And left a nice tip.
Yeah.
And then side note, as we're getting ready to leave, I've paid the bill. And I know this sounds kind of weird, but I noticed this guy across the restaurant.
Yeah.
Because he looked like, what's the dude with the big mustache?
Wilford Brimley?
No. He does the Dodge commercials and that show The Ranch.
Sam Elliott.
Sam Elliott.
Ah, okay.
And I was like, that dude's got a Sam Elliott stash going on over there.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're just kind of rounding things up. We got our little to-go bags and because I got Clara her cheese dip so she wouldn't be all mad. And then as he got up and he started walking towards the bathrooms and he walks by and he looks down at me. He goes, hey. I was like, he goes, nice beard. I was like,
yeah,
thanks, man.
I know.
I was like, I'd only have the mustache if I could pull that one off because it was a pretty sweet stash. But anyway, good service, left a good tip, went back and
yeah. Troy walked in on me the other day selling some Admiral's Pennant beard oil
Where were you selling it?
at my house. Yeah, we had a get together, and
okay.
there was a dude there that was starting to grow out his beard, and he was, his wife was there too, and he was like, yeah, she made some beard oil for me, and I just hadn't got used to the itch. It's just not quite, but it's kind of, and I said, beard oil, why are you making it? You could buy it. And she said, he doesn't do well, and nor do I with any kind of synthetic, all this synthetic stuff that's in all these beard oils. And I said, let me tell you about Admiral's Pennant beard oil. And I go in, and she's like, well, what's in? I said, it's like the jojoba. Is that how you pronounce it? I said, that's the base, and it's all natural. And, I like this one with sandalwood, and, this, and she's like, oh, that sounds, and then I went and got some, and she smelled it, and she's like, this is fantastic. And your website and everything, boom, customer, just like that.
Sale.
Sold.
Commission.
It probably... He gets a commission every day I show up and grace
him with his presence.
with my presence.
Oh man! Well, why don't we hear a Admiral's Pennant beard oil commercial right now?
We can do that.
Thank you, Admiral's Pennant.
At Admiral's Pennant, our mission is to offer the latest and refined, high-quality masculine products and services to the modern gentleman, as well as provide him with the tools and products necessary to look, act, and feel confident in his appearance and social interactions. Check it out at admiralspennant.com. Without it, you might as well shave.
And we're back.
I didn't know if, since I was hosting, if I was going to be allowed to do that.
You can if you want
or
to.
not, but apparently I'm not. So moving on to our top three. And this week we have our top three inspirational quotes to start the new year. Troy.
Yes.
Why don't you lead us off?
I will.
And then I will go next. No, Chet, why don't you go first?
Okay.
All right, fine.
Yeah, put your phone down, Troy.
Yeah,
He just.
Hey, he's host. He gets to do what he wants.
Hey, I had to make
ankle
a quick
breaker.
change because I know that
Couple weeks, I'll do what I want.
Chet's bringing the good word, and I don't want him talking that.
Nobody wants to hear my voice for that long.
We don't want to have people tune out.
That's right. That's right.
Number 3.
You got to break that up.
Inspirational quotes for the new year. This is a country singer / breakfast sausage king.
Oh, Jimmy Dean.
Jimmy Dean.
The sausage king of Chicago.
I can't change the direction of the wind, but I can adjust my sails to always reach my destination. So being here in Kansas with the relentless winds that exist that you cannot stop, you can't do anything about, this one hits home. But there are a lot of things in your life that you can't control, but you can make adjustments and still get done what you need to get done, according to Jimmy Dean, and I agree with him. Number 2, we generate fears while we sit. We overcome them by action. Dr. Henry Link said that, a renowned psychologist. And I think this is true. I don't know what's a good example of being paralyzed by fear and not doing anything, and all you do is get more scared. But when you start to actually do something, it goes well. Asking a girl out. Oh, I'm so nervous about this. But when you start the conversation, everything flows and it goes well. Or
most of the time.
Maybe not for you.
Most of the time.
But having a difficult conversation with somebody at work, or having, it's like, I'm not going to do it. The whole time you're thinking about it and not doing anything about it, you're getting more scared. But that fear starts to go away when you start doing, when you take action. It like even like a zip line. If you're going to just stand there on the edge and stare, you're going to get scared. But if you actually just jump off and start going, then that action takes that fear away. And then the last one, my number 1, someone is sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago. And a lot of times, this is from Warren Buffett, a lot of times we don't want to put the work in because the results aren't going to be there right away. Sometimes they won't be there for us. They may be there for a generation later than us. But you are reaping the benefits of some hard work from somebody a long time ago. What are you doing today to create shade for somebody else in the future or for yourself in the future? Whether that's retirement, whether that's you're going to go back to school and get a degree so you can have a better job, years down the road. Make some shade for yourself a long time from now by doing something difficult today.
I like it. I've heard that one before. It's good.
All right.
Better making shade than throwing shade.
That's right. All right. Am I next?
Troy, go ahead.
All right. I have a honorable mention
Oh, Lord. Here we go.
because I heard it and I thought it was pretty good, given the time that we live right now. It says, "Cheers to a new year and another chance for us to get it right." Guess who said that? Oprah Winfrey said that.
Oprah.
Oh, Oprah. Yeah. So that was my honorable mention. Number 3, write it on your heart that every day is the best day in the year. Ralph Waldo Emerson.
Okay.
Having a bad day? No, you're not. This is the best day of your life. Every day of your life. It's just positivity at work. I like it.
It's kind of like the whole forcing yourself to smile.
Right. And I tried that ever since Chet said that day. I tried.
Do you do it?
I do that with my kids.
Yeah.
And sometimes they won't do it, but usually when
They'll crack them up and then it changes everything.
For some of them it does.
Yeah. So for those that don't remember, I read this thing on the internet one day
Yeah.
that said, if you're in a bad mood and you force yourself to smile, you will no longer be in that bad mood. And I started using that on my kids. So where if they're very frustrated, I say, I read on the internet that if you make yourself smile, that bad mood will go away. And then now I just have to say, I read on the internet, and then they start smiling. And they get mad because they want to be mad.
Because it worked.
And they're like, I don't want to smile right now because then I can't be mad.
Right.
So you want to be.
Yeah.
Don't come to me until you're ready to be better.
That's good.
You have teenagers,
Oh, I know. All
right. Number 2, be always at war with your vices, at peace with your neighbors, and let each year find you a better man. Benjamin Franklin.
Yourself a better man.
Yourself a better man.
Okay.
He's been throwing out a lot.
Yeah.
I'm sweating over here.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Well, back then, I think they would have just said, find you, meaning yourself, a better man.
I didn't know Franklin. Never mind. Read that again.
Door is wide open, Matt.
Because I forgot what it was saying.
All right. Be always at war with your vices.
Oh, okay. Be at war with your vices.
At peace with your neighbors. And let each year find you a better man.
Yeah. The year should find you better.
Right.
Yeah.
So I've read it correctly.
You're right.
He stated it correctly. You just hear what you want to hear, Matt.
I'm just saying. It's a trend that I'm starting to see with you that we may have to discuss with the record button off.
All right. Life. Oh, sorry. Number 1.
Yeah. Yeah.
Life is change. Growth is optional. Choose wisely.
Who said that?
The old priest guy or the old crusader guy on the Last Crusade in Indiana Jones.
No, Sean Connery.
He said choose wisely. But this was by Karen Kaiser Clark who said this.
Okay.
He chose
Poorly.
No, I think that was good because, if you want to change your life, life is change. Growth is only optional.
Yeah.
Put the work in. Come on, guys.
Come on, man.
Change.
That should have been one of my quotes.
Come on, man. That might be, I might slide that in there.
Honorable mention.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
That was his number 1.
That was number 1.
I was just making sure. He said,
Okay.
all right. So it's me.
Go for it.
Honorable mention. Come on, man. Number 3, darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. Martin Luther King Jr.
I like it.
I dig it.
Pretty self-explanatory.
Yep.
Yes.
And it goes along with what we've talked about with the service industry.
You're not going to drive out bad service with bad customer.
Bad attitude. Nope. But if you say something nice, and I believe you said that before, you can change that person's day.
Mm-hmm.
I think Troy mentioned that in a few podcasts back.
Yeah, I did.
If I remember correctly. Number 2, success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts.
Churchill.
Winston Churchill.
Very good.
And number 1 comes from Brandon Dillon down there somewhere in Texas. Good Marine buddy of mine. Don't talk about it. Be about it. That will always, anytime there's a quote.
You need to get that tattooed on you somewhere.
This will be.
That should be your one tattoo.
No.
That you get.
No. Maybe I'll do a bunch of temporary tattoos where it looked like it's permanent.
What is that? Henna? What was that called? The red ink that they do in India?
Henna?
Henna. Yeah, that's what you need. Get a henna tattoo that says that. Don't talk about it, be about it. And then it'll fade after a few months.
Then I can get it all in Chinese characters that don't mean
that
at all.
Yeah.
So, I've shot a few Hindu weddings where they do that. But one bride was using marker. And so by the end of the night,
it all ran.
It was all just like she had stuff on her and it was all running and it was
didn't work out.
It was kind of funny.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's my top 3.
I like it. Hopefully you got some inspiration from one of those or all of them, especially the don't talk about it, be about it.
Don't talk about it, be about it.
Be about it.
A little shout out again to Brandon Dillon. That's almost 12 years running on that one.
It's good.
In your top 3 every year.
Yep. All right. Chet, do us the honor of bringing us a good word, please.
So I got a good word by the Apostle Paul in the book of Romans. A little bit of context here. He's writing a letter to the church in Rome, if you will. And he does a lot of explaining about, some history of Israel and how the Gentiles, the non-Israel people, had opportunity to have a relationship with God, which before they didn't really. It was all just the Jews, the Hebrews. So in this chapter 15, he's kind of just talking about how awesome it is, and he goes back and he quotes some Old Testament scripture in verse 12 of chapter 15. And again, Isaiah, the book of Isaiah, it says, "The root of Jesse will spring up, one who will arise to rule over the nations. In him the Gentiles will hope." So he's talking about even it was prophesied in the Old Testament that the Gentiles will have a hope. And in verse 13 it says, "May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him, so that you overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit." So whenever you kind of think about the new year, I think a lot of people look at the new year with hope. Like, I have an opportunity. And I think that's what the resolutions are all about, is there's an opportunity to be different, for something to change, for this year not to be like last year in a better way. So we look at the new year with hope. And if you look here, this is calling God the God of hope, and being filled with joy and peace, which is another thing. We talk about peace this time of year, especially with Christmas that just passed. And the only reason that we would want change in a new year typically is that we would have more joy. And so that's kind of what led me to this verse, is that the new year is typically centered around hope, finding peace with yourself or with something, your family or whatever, or improving your joy, your outlook. But if you read into that verse, that will happen as you trust in him. So if you're genuinely looking for real hope, hope in something that will not fade, hope in something that is not in your control, that somebody else did it and cemented it in place, it's not going to fail when you fall off the diet wagon, on the first time you eat out at Abuelo's after the diet plan, the joy that you want to have by doing things, being nicer or whatever else, and then something totally doesn't happen the way you wanted it to, or the peace. So a lot of times the peace that we want is the peace that comes from controlling the environment around you. None of that's going to be successful. The hope that you need that is everlasting, the joy that you can have in any circumstance, and the peace that you can have in your heart all comes through trusting in God. So my good word, I guess, would be hope, but the true hope that you need to have is only going to come through trusting in him, as it says in verse 13. And so that my word to you would be, if you want to hope that 2022 is going to be fantastic, that don't be hoping in circumstances, don't be hoping that the virus is going to go away, don't be hoping that you're going to lose 5 pounds because you didn't eat sweets after your meal. If you want true joy and peace, your hope needs to be in Christ and in nothing else. And through that trust, you can have the hope in an eternal life through him.
Yep. I like it.
That's it.
That's a good word. Very good word to start out the new year. So,
Right there with you.
All right.
well, take us on out.
Thank you for listening. Oh, Matt, be real excited when you close out.
Yeah, I'm not doing that, but I will say, thank everybody for joining us. We hope that you have a great New Year's, and that's it.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, go to hardheadedpodcast.com, buy some merch,
I mean, all they got to do
share.
They can help us start out on a positive note by doing that. Right?
Sharing would be the biggest one.
Sharing is caring.
Sharing, Karen, okay.
Okay. And you know what? We should probably actually have done the things that we're not going to talk about in 2022.
We could do that anytime in 2022.
But then we'd be talking about it in 2022.
You got me on that. He just
Mind blown.
Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll talk to you next week.
Oh, a little slide rail there.
Like that? Had to get it in on the last one.
Another year in the books. Wait, first year. That was the first year.
First
in the
year.
books.
When you're done.
Mm-hmm.